Hi, welcome everyone. My name is Debelak, and today we're going to be hearing a speech on sleep deprivation. What is sleep deprivation? Sleep deprivation is a lack of sleep. Simple enough, right? Well, the problem is that most people don't think sleep is important. They feel that they can sleep when they're dead. Well, that might be true, but the problem is that everybody needs their bodies to be replenished every night. And without the sleep, they're not going to be replenishing their body. The National Sleep Foundation recommends that you have between 7 and 9 hours of sleep every night. How many hours of sleep are you getting every night? I know that I try to get at least 8 hours of sleep every night because I know I'm not going to be able to function the next day without it. The problem is that most people are only getting between 6 and 7 hours of sleep, the average being 6 hours and 40 minutes. Sleep deprivation can cause a lot of problems. It's actually costing the United States $100 billion every year, and that's a lot of money. If we could just stop the sleep deprivation, that would be $100 billion that could be used for better causes. In fact, 1,500 people die every single year from sleep deprivation caused accidents. 71,000 people that are injured in these types of accidents. And about $12.5 billion is lost due to these accidents. That's a lot of money, that's a lot of people dying, and that's a lot of people being injured. And the solution? People just need to get a little more sleep. I know that seems simple, but for some reason it's not happening. Another thing that most people don't realize is that sleep deprivation is a lot like alcohol, being drunk or something of that nature. In fact, after not sleeping for 17 hours, your body has the same BAC level as somebody that drank and has a 0.05 BAC. After 24 hours, you would be equivalent of a BAC of 0.10. The legal limit in Pennsylvania is 0.08. So that means that after not sleeping for 24 hours, you're actually way over the legal limit. I think that that's a rather interesting statistic, if I do say so myself. The main problem with sleep deprivation also comes from people that are doing shift work or are truck drivers. Truck drivers tend to drive long distances and don't get enough sleep, so they drink caffeine or other things to try and keep themselves awake. This could be a very major problem because if you have a big tractor trailer and a sleepy driver, that's going to cause a lot of damage, and is most likely where some of the money is coming from. And people that are doing shift work, your body is meant to sleep during certain periods of the day. It's called circadian rhythm, and that basically means that your body goes through certain rhythms, and at certain parts of the day your body feels like it needs to sleep more than other times during the day. Usually this is at night. While people that are working the grave shift tend to have more problems at work, tend to miss more work, and also tend to have more accidents while they are at work. And this is simply because their bodies aren't meant to be awake at that point in time, and they need to be resting. Another thing that I feel everyone should know about sleep deprivation is that it is studied extremely well. There are so many studies out there that can tell you all this information about sleep deprivation. In fact, sleep deprivation can eventually lead to death. I'm not sure if any of you knew that or not, but it can. In fact, I have a rate chart here based on a 9-year follow-up sample of a county in California. Residents were watched, and if you can see, it's done by men and women. And people that got less than 6 hours sleep had a higher percentage of death rates than did people that got 7 to 8 or even 9 hours and up. So that shows you that by not getting enough sleep, you can actually end up having an earlier death than if you got enough sleep. Another few points that I thought I would make. Here I have a chart showing that grade point average can actually increase if you get more sleep. Here, under 5 hours, you have below a 3.2 grade point average. People that are getting between 5 and 6 hours of sleep a night are between a 3.2 and a 3.4. And those that are getting 7 hours of sleep or more on average are having almost a 3.4 GPA. I feel that that's important to get the sleep, even though you feel like you need to stay up and cram for those tests. Sleep actually might be more important. Here is a step-by-step process where it shows that somebody can learn a task. If they get enough sleep, they then can perform the task. But the problem is that if the person is sleep deprived, they can't learn the task and then perform the task. They will be too tired and won't be able to have the right brain functions. The 24-hour sleep-wake cycle consists of sleep, slow wave, alternating with rapid eye movement, sleep, and waking, and sleep restores brain function, sustaining performance during subsequent waking. Here, if you can see this, it shows you the differences when you're sleeping of when you're getting your rapid eye movement or REM sleep and your slow wave sleep, which is important for people. They really do need a lot of REM sleep in order to get a restful night's sleep. A research study was actually done where people were asked whether or not they felt that driving while sleepy was just as dangerous as driving while intoxicated. And actually 52% of the people surveyed strongly agreed with this. They felt that it was extremely dangerous to drive while sleepy, while only 1% of the people strongly disagreed and felt that it wasn't something that was a big deal at all. I found that this would be I found this as a rather interesting fact. I figured that most people would think that sleep deprivation wasn't that important and that it wasn't dangerous to drive while sleepy. Now, the next part is if you're sleepy and intoxicated, that makes things 10 times worse. If you're driving while after having a few drinks and you haven't slept in 24 hours, it increases your ability to get into an accident. It will actually make it more likely, and your motor skills are greatly affected. You do not have as fast of a reaction time or anything else. So I think that that's something that people need to be aware of, because they need to know that when they are tired, they should not also drink, even if it's only a few drinks, and then try to drive home. It's safer if you just try to take a taxi or have somebody else drive you home. Overall, I just have one more chart here, and it's the inverse of reaction time versus the time on the task. And normal people that have sleep, of course, the longer they're on the task, the slower they're going to get. But for sleep-deprived people, it actually goes down a lot faster. So that's something that you need to understand, is that when you are sleep-deprived, everything's going to be affected. It's not just going to be that you're tired. Your work is going to be affected, your productivity is going to be affected, your abilities to drive or operate heavy machinery are going to be affected. So I hope that you take this in and understand it and get some more sleep. Thanks everybody, and have a good night. Thank you.